The online clothing giant said that sales growth for the whole of this coming year was going to be at the lower end of forecast, and that's why the shares fell. Another company having a tough time on the stock market is DFS. Its shares down about 2% after the furniture specialist issued a profit warning. DFS said it expects significantly lower than expected orders in the fourth quarter, and it says it's because of exceptionally hot weather and a disruption to some of its orders from Asia as well. And finally, the Chinese tech giant ZTE has signed an agreement with the United States, and it means it can resume business in the country. The firm, remember, was blocked from buying US supplies in April after the US found it was violating trade bans in Iran and North Korea. It's got to pay a security deposit of £300 million for the ban to be lifted. Quick look at the markets. There you go. All about FTSE bouncing back, about 0.75% up. Dow coming up very strongly, similar amount percentage-wise. That's what's happened to Sky shares, up about almost 3%, and the pound is at 113.25. That is the business news. Martin.
Jamie, nice to see you. Thank you very much. Let's return to Anita McVeigh, who's at Regent's Park in central London, where President Trump is staying at the US ambassador's residence during his visit to the UK. Anita.
Thank you, Martine. And with me here is our World Affairs correspondent, Naomi Grimley, because we're going to talk a little bit about the key part of the visit from the UK government's perspective, that meeting with Theresa May at Chequers tomorrow. They've had a real seesaw relationship, haven't they? From the hand-holding at the White House to, the terse exchanges over Donald Trump's retweeting of a far-right group.
Yes, that incident in November, I think, was the most perilous one for Theresa May because he retweeted some Islamophobic videos on Twitter in November, and she really had no option but to say publicly that that was wrong. He then came back at her on Twitter and said, Theresa May, why don't you focus on Islamic radicalism in Britain rather than telling me what to do? And that whole incident, I think, will have burnt her fingers because it's just a reminder of what a live wire this president is. You don't really know what he's going to say publicly, but more to the point, you don't know what he might say in a 5 a.m. tweet.
And I think with President Trump, the ground shifts, doesn't it? So perhaps harder for Theresa May to get a handle on in terms of what store she can set by anything he might say during this visit.
Yes, I mean, there is one sort of bit of moral high ground, if you like, that the British do have, and that is when it comes to NATO, because they are one of those countries which is spending that 2% target on defence spending. Now, it may be that during this visit she tries to use that to get him to temper some of his language when it comes to the NATO alliance, because as we've seen this morning, that is quite unsettling for other world leaders like Angela Merkel and President Macron.
But trade is the big thing, isn't it? And whether they can get some constructive discussions going about a future bilateral trade agreement post-Brexit.
That's true, but even the American ambassador here this week has said that all of that really is up in the air because, of course, we do not yet know what that future relationship with the EU will be, and until that is sorted out, there'll be no actual negotiations on a UK-US trade deal.
Okay, Naomi, thank you very much, Naomi Grimley, our World Affairs correspondent. Much more from here throughout the afternoon, but right now let's take a look at the weather forecast with Ben Rich.
Good afternoon. Over the last few days, the weather has certainly turned a little more mixed. There's been more cloud, there have been some outbreaks of rain, and one or two showers to take us through the late afternoon, particularly for southwest Scotland, northwest England, into Wales, the Midlands and the south of England. Some of these could be on the heavy side, and a few will continue through the night. Most places will turn dry, with some clear spells, some areas of cloud and some mist patches as well, and temperatures between 10 and 16 degrees. So into tomorrow then, some slightly misty, murky conditions for some early on, a fair amount of cloud, which will tend to break up to reveal some spells of sunshine. Again, though, some hefty showers for southwest Scotland, northwest